Coming up this week on Movie Buff, well, hands up, who knows who Darwin is, because you're about to find out in Creation. Then get your leg warmers and leotards out for Fame. And finally, the movie of the moment, drama The Soloist.
All of nature is a battlefield. Remind me where I read that.
It's 200 years since his birth and 150 since the publication of his most famous work on the origin of species. So there's never been a better time to talk about Charles Darwin. And alongside exhibitions and even special coins, the double anniversary of Britain's famous naturalist is being marked with a film. Creation is an adaptation of the book Annie's Box by Randall Keynes, Darwin's great-great-grandson. The fictionalised account follows him as he writes his groundbreaking theory of natural selection.
Changes everything. Suppose the whole world stopped believing that God had any sort of plan for us. Apart from anything else, it would break your mother's heart.
And also deals with the death of his daughter. Paul Bettany plays him, and there was more to the role than just looking at plants and animals and brushing up on his Latin.
A little bit of a shaving thing going on here. He was bald, so it was depressing. It was depressing to have to do it. But I was just delighted to find I didn't get shaving rash up here, because that would have been a kind of appalling thing.
His real-life wife, Jennifer Connelly, stars as the scientist's other half, Emma, although that did have its drawbacks.
Dare he torture our children for expressing the plain and simple truth?
It is not the truth as he sees
well,
it.
Well, damn how he sees it!
It's difficult to come home after a long day and moan about the leading actress if she's your wife. You know, I think we were both a little anxious that we might just sort of laugh at each other.
Well, he was 40 pounds heavier and sporting dodgy hair. But seriously, the makers have turned an interesting tale into a stunning drama. Okay, so they've bent the truth slightly. We're not sure if his relationship with Emma was quite this lovey-dovey, but the science is spot on, it's well acted, and beautifully filmed.
Bravo!
Sadly, the creation versus evolution debate is so fierce in the US, it may not be seen by as many people as it should there. But it's a movie worthy of Darwin's achievements, showing he's far more than just the man on the back of the £10 note.
Remember the name, right? The Canteen Dancing Kids are back with a reworking of the classic 80s film Fame, and just like the original, you can expect lots of lycra, plenty of show-stopping singing numbers, and the odd Britney Spears circus impression. This is Fame for 2009, and here's where you start paying in sweat. But will it be as good as the 6-time Oscar-nominated original?
I mean, we all wish and have put so much work into this film, and we've put our heart into it, so I mean...
One thing I can say is that we're all really proud of the music. The soundtrack for this one, I think kids are going to go out and be like, this is also classic, because the music will stand the test of time. And the movie is so relevant, and kids can relate.
Dancing's amazing. The performances, I feel like, are just mind-blowing. So I think it's going to be crazy.
Introducing Carrington Payne, Asher Brooker and Naturi Norton, who play a dancer, a songwriting heartthrob and a classical pianist turned hip-hop singer. And for Naturi, the film is a great opportunity to do some old-school belting.
Thanks to Broadway, I think it's developed my voice into being that belting voice, but I started singing in church, so I always had that, you know, take it to church kind of thing. So I'm glad I had great songs to work with, because you can have a voice, but if no one gives you the opportunity or the great music or the material, what's the use?
High School Musical, it is not. This is unmistakably Fame, complete with the infamous canteen scene, which has been given a hip-hop makeover. The original was truly pioneering, sparking a generation of kids who wanted to sing, dance and be famous. Nothing like Fame had ever been seen before, and the world fell in love with it. And while the dancing in the remake is arguably better, whether it has the same magic as the original, we'll let you decide.
I'm not always so sure what's going on.
He has no idea what he's saying.
If there's one film that you must see this month, it's Atonement director Joe Wright's first US set movie, The Soloist. Based on a true story, which in itself is always a good start, the drama is about an unlikely friendship between a journalist and a homeless guy. Robert Downey Jr. is LA Times reporter Steve Lopez, while Jamie Foxx is the musically gifted schizophrenic Nathaniel Ayres.
It's a colorful match between two people who start off on opposite sides of the spectrum but end up finding a loving relationship. It's a love story.
Steve meets Nathaniel quite by accident. He's basically trying to avoid an article that his wife, ex-wife, now boss, played by Catherine Keener, has assigned him to. And he's kind of hanging out and just walking around on his lunch hour. And he hears music playing in Pershing Square and follows it to its source, and there's our hero. I'm Steve Lopez, LA Times.
Lopez.
What's your name?
Lopez. Nathaniel Anthony Ayres Jr., Nathaniel I apologize for my appearance. I've had a few setbacks.
Me too. Who are Nancy, Paul, and Craig?
Those are my classmates at Juilliard.
Once Steve starts writing about him, it's not long before Nathaniel has a new instrument to play. Foxx, a trained pianist, found mastering the cello fairly easy.
By having a musical background, it gives you, no matter which instrument you play, it gives you sort of the DNA of every instrument, you know, and you watch, as you watch people play, you know, you pick up the different mannerisms pretty easily, but by having a musical background, that classical piano musical background, it really helps in something like this.
There's already Oscar buzz around this movie, with great roles for the actors to get stuck into and a heartwarming story that even features some of the real homeless people on Skid Row. You can see why it would be a worthy contender. Director Joe, though, doesn't care much for thinking about awards season.
Because then you start making your choices based on that kind of thinking.
Fair enough. Even so, we reckon this is one to watch and an early tip for Academy nods when it comes round next year.